Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Michelle McCullough. I am a social media strategist, and I'm excited to be with you here with Amber, who is hosting this tonight. For some reason, we can't get Amber's audio to work. Why don't you try again, just in case, Amber? Say hello. Let's see if we can hear you.
Hello, can anybody hear me?
I can see
Hello?
you moving your pretty lips, but we are going to go ahead and get started. So if you are here and joining us, thank you so much. We are delighted to have you and see you. Thank you for your patience. Technology is our friend, and we are going to roll with it. And hopefully people will be able to join us and get the content and information. As I mentioned before, if you go back to the regular page where you started, you should be able to go in there and ask questions. If you have questions throughout the program, we would love to answer those for you. I am going to go ahead and get started with some of this content because I'm excited to share with you these details and information. And if nothing else, this call is being recorded so that you can watch it back in a playback, or other people on the team can go back and watch it as well. I am so excited because I feel like some of the things that we are doing, and just to give you a little bit of background and information about me and my status, I am a doTERRA wellness advocate. I am an IPC. I don't actively pursue this as a business, but I do have my own account and my own auto ship. I call myself a user, not a dealer, but I use my my marketing expertise to help doTERRA teams across the country and in various parts throughout the world. I have doTERRA teams that I support in Germany, Austria, Mexico, and also Australia. So it's fun to be with you tonight and to share with you some things. I do have information that is available here that you can use regardless of how big or how small you are in doTERRA. And I also have just some simple blueprints that whether you do this full-time, part-time, whether you're doing it 5 hours a week or 25 hours a week, one of the things about social media that is so powerful is it gives you the ability to connect and interact with people in bigger and bolder ways. That said, if I could go on a 12-city tour helping people understand the biggest mistakes that direct sales people make when working online with social media, that list is so super duper long. And in an effort for us to want to share our messages in big ways, and we're very passionate about the things that we do, and we love our products, we love our services, we can come off as extremely salesy, we can come off as extremely pushy, and it sends the wrong messages to the people who could then become your target market. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in here. I'm going to turn on a little presentation over here to show you some slides that I think will help you get some additional information. And again, if you have questions, feel free to go back to that page, and I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. So here we go. We are going to talk about getting started with your social strategy, and it's just 5 simple, easy steps. We're just going to walk through them really quickly. And I love to tell this story that when I was in college, I had this dream that I was going to be an Olympic athlete. Now, I say that jokingly because I'm a very sedentary lass. My idea of an Olympic sport is from the couch to the kitchen. And so one day when I woke up and decided that I was going to rollerblade to work, I should have seen like the sirens and the red flags going off. And I didn't live that too far away from my office building. For any of you that are familiar with St. George, Utah, I went to Dixie College. And I only lived about 7 blocks away, right by the pizza factory and pasta factory, and we worked in this building right here called Tenny Clemens Advertising. And so one morning, I was actually wearing my business clothes and my roommate's rollerblades, and I set out to rollerblade to work. Now, I, like you should know already, am not a super pro rollerblader. I don't know how those little stoppy things work on the back of those rollerblades. Some people call them brakes, but my idea of braking was just kind of rolling onto grass. And still, I just decided I was going to be determined and set out. Now, Ancestor Square is really beautiful and fun. It's a hip location in St. George. I approached it on this particular day from the back, and it's an office complex with about 4 or 5 different buildings, and they're all connected. In this building back here, if you approach from the back, there's a big parking lot. And one thing that I never realized in a vehicle but quickly found out in rollerblades is that there's an ever so slight yet powerful decline in the back. And so as I was rounding the corner, I was picking up speed, and I was picking up a lot of speed. And I looked around in this office park and there is no grass. And so my stoppy things are not available to me, and I am not entirely sure what I'm going to do. But I am rounding the buildings, I'm rounding the corners, getting faster and faster and faster. I'm finally starting to round the corner where I only have 2 more bends till I get to my office building, yet I'm still not entirely sure what I'm going to do. And Ancestor Square has one of these old telephone booths that is just sitting there. Obviously there's no phone in it, but it just sits there. And so I thought I was just going to go up and tap up against that phone booth, and that was going to stop me. Now, just like exercise was not my number one skill, neither was physics. But as you can probably imagine, it wasn't the tap that I had envisioned in my head. I slammed up next to that telephone booth and I fell flat on my back. It knocked the wind and the humility out of me, and I just laid there for a minute saying, oh my gosh, who just saw that? And so I sat there on my back, I guess I was laying on my back, waiting for the wind to come back into my lungs, and also for the vehicles that had seen that whole thing happen pass. And then I quickly took off the rollerblades and walked the rest of the way to work. Well, I think that for a lot of us, whether you have made these kinds of mistakes in social media, whether you've been too salesy, whether you've sent a billion private messages on Facebook to every single person you know telling them that you have the best product in the land and they have told you that you're dumb for it, whatever that might be, regardless of the humiliation that you might feel, I just want you to get up, dust yourself off. And for some of you, you're having some great success. And I don't want to discredit that, because I know that for a lot of you, you really are being successful online. But I hope that you will take some of these opportunities to learn some of these principles today, start fresh, start anew, and work forward, because your new dreams are going to be different. Your new dreams for social media could be that you want 300,000 Twitter followers, or that you want 1,000 likes and shares on Facebook every day. Maybe you want to drive tons of traffic to your website or double your email list. Maybe you want to have sales just come all of the time right out of Facebook. Whatever those dreams are that you have about social media, there are 5 quick decisions that you need to make to build a powerful and effective social media strategy. So today we're going to go through those really quickly, and I want you to think about this as we get started in terms of what you are going to do to start anew, what 5 steps you're going to take to create that new strategy for yourself that will help you be powerful and effective. And I think that one of the things that I like to say, and we're going to start here actually, the step number 1 is to make a decision. Why do you want to market through social media? Because a lot of people will say, well, I want to be on social media because there are a billion people on Facebook, and if there are a billion people on Facebook, then I need to be on Facebook too. And some people will say, I want to be on Facebook and use social media because it's easy. And some people will say, I like to be on social media because I don't like to talk to people on the phone. And that's fine, but I want you to get more specific on the results that you want than the consumer-driven hat that you're using. And so to put the framework in place, I always use this definition, and this is my definition of marketing. It's not in any textbook anywhere, but it will give you some foundation for what we're talking about today, that marketing is sharing the right messages to the right masses through the right mediums. And it's those 3 things. It's a marketing trifecta. It's making sure that you understand all of these pieces and that they all play into your marketing plan, or it doesn't work. And when you think about the definition again, to me, you have to be making money. So marketing is sharing the right messages to the right masses through the right mediums so you can make money. Otherwise, if you're doing those things, you're just wasting time. So I hope that you will get going and get started on that for you, and that you will be able to know that wherever you're spending your time, that it will translate into those dollars that make it worth you actually doing and spending your time through social media. So I'm going to give you a couple of objectives that will help you make sure that you are translating that into money for you today. The first one I want you to think about is to evaluate these 4 things. But number 1 is deciding, and this should say 2015, excuse me, deciding what you want to grow your following to. Because people use that as a number. Whether you have 100 now or 1,000 now, it doesn't matter. At First Startup Princess, we currently have 284,000 followers on Twitter. 294,000 followers on Twitter. We're super excited about it, but we still set growth goals every single year to help us grow. And whatever that is for you, it doesn't have to be that you have tons and tons of followers now, but anybody right now, if you had 100 followers on Twitter, you could grow that by 100 a week using some simple strategies. If you have 100 likes on Facebook on your business page and you want that to be 200 or 300 or 400, you can do that, but you've got to know what your goal is so that you're focusing your efforts on achieving these results. If you want to increase the traffic to your site, then you should think about and consider the kinds of traffic that you want. Now, for some of you, you are currently using doTERRA websites. Others of you have your own third-party websites, and that's fine. And I support that and hope that you will be able to decide what that traffic is. Now, again, I'm not saying sales here. I'm saying traffic, website traffic to your site that hopefully you are tracking one way or the other. Now, the third one is to increase your list size. I hope that each of you are growing an email list somehow. Whether you're using some kind of simple system like a MailChimp that's free, or if you're using something bigger, I support you in whatever those are, but your email list is so critical and so important. It's more important to me than how many followers you have on Facebook. Yet that said, one of the easiest ways to grow your following on Facebook is one of the easiest ways to make your following on Facebook translatable into real business is to growing your email list. So make sure that's a piece of your goal and a piece of your strategy so that you can translate those people. Because what happens on social media is that people are there for different reasons. They're not there to buy, they're not there to purchase, they're there to interact, they're there to socialize. Yet when you come on with your sales messages, they may or may not be ready or interested in that moment. So what I recommend for people is that you drive them to traffic, drive them to content, drive them to information that will make them want to learn more from you so that when they are ready, they've been nurtured through that process. Now, we don't have a lot of time. We're going to focus on social media here today, but I want you to be thinking about growing that email list, and then we can go deeper into some marketing accelerators individually if this is an area where you want to go. I've got some people in a group right now that are specifically working on growing email lists. So if this is you, let's work on that, and let's get you to a place grow that email list. But just know that that's a really great strategy for social media to grow that list so that you can nurture those leads, and that should be one of your objectives. And then the last objective here is, of course, to grow your sales. Now, hopefully you're keeping track of the different places that your sales come from, and maybe some of you are using social media to grow your, maybe you're using social media to just grow your interest in events, you get people to come to those. Whatever that is, I hope that you are also considering how are you directly relating those sales online. And so if you will think about that and think about the numbers that you are using and how you're putting that together, that will make a big difference for your following, because you're really tracking those sales and you're knowing. Maybe sometimes you put out a specific sale and offer just for people online, just so that you can track and make sure that those sales efforts are actually working for you, and that it is bringing you the kind of business that you want it to be bringing you. So think through that a little bit and get clear on that strategy so that you can know that your objectives are matching your efforts that you're playing online. And again, it sounds simple, but I really believe that everything starts with this first decision-making process on these 4 things for you to decide what your goals are, and that it will help you really take your business to the next level because you are starting with those objectives. It is so critical, so important, and so valuable to begin with this place. And this will make more sense as we move along. But I wanted to start with this because I think it's really critical. Now, you can get specific. So I put some things on here that will help you get specific, like what you want to grow your following to be, what you want your sales to be. But to get there, so that you can know what your efforts are doing and you can start to track your return on your investment. And for some of us, we really like to be on social media because it's free, but really you're still investing your time. So is that return on your investment bringing you the kind of results that you want? And the best way to do that and to track that is to start with some of these objectives. One of the things that I like to talk about when it comes to social media is that by 2017, 3 billion people will be playing on social media networks created by Americans. And so you have the opportunity as a business owner, as someone in direct sales, to really grow your following and grow your offerings internationally by using social media. But you need to decide now, because 2017 is going to come really quickly, and you growing your following now will make the biggest difference. Let's go on to step 2. This is one of the biggest questions that I get. People are asking me all the time, where do I want to play online and how do I make that decision? And I have a graphic up here that I want you to look at and see, and it might be too small for you to see, but I can also share this. When you go back and play it, you can just pause on this little button right here. But there are 6 different social media outlets that are what we call the top 6: Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Google+, and LinkedIn. And so those 6 really are the top of the outlets. And sure, there's Vine, and sure, there's Dig, and sure, there's StumbleUpon, and sure, there's all of these other different outlets. But it's really critical and important to make a decision, because for you as small business owners, you're probably doing all of the social media yourself. You are probably watching and moving and not just doing social media. You've got people to follow up with, you've got private consults that you're doing wellness consults, you've got events that you're doing online. So it's really hard as a big social media person to try to do everything. So I want you to give yourself permission to just focus on one areas. I want you to think of the 1 or 2 that you want to play in and where your following is playing in. So what we can do is get back to basics for yourself on the outlets that you want to play in, and using this as a guide. If you want to really focus on the pictorial views of doTERRA and really want to be able to show things, show the blends, show the bottles, maybe you'd really benefit from an Instagram opportunity where you really want to go deep in Instagram. Maybe you want to really focus on Facebook. And one of the things I like to say on Facebook is that everybody is on Facebook, and we use that term everybody really kind of loosely, but it says there are 1 billion people that are using it worldwide. They have a really, really, really high return of people who are coming back every single day, but over 51% of the people that are on Facebook are between the ages of 18 to 24. And that's not your target market. I mean, generally speaking, college students aren't going to be the people that buy essential oils unless they come from their parents. So even though there's a lot of numbers, it may not necessarily be your people. So think through that and consider which of these outlets will work best for you. And a lot of people play on Facebook, and so maybe for market saturation, you would benefit from playing in Google+. And you can share your messages, share the oils, share the blends, but share them in different places. But my point to you is I love the quote by Tiffany Peterson that says, I would rather have one 100-foot deep well than 100 1-foot deep wells. And the principle and power behind that is really valuable to consider, that you don't want to spread yourself too thin. People come online for 2 reasons. They come online for information and connection. And as a brand and an individual, you really need to focus on that to make sure that you are providing information and connection to your audience. But it's super hard to connect if you're trying to be in all 300 social media outlets, because you're not really spending the time and effort there. If you want to grow a big following on Twitter, focus your efforts there. Be powerful there. Decide that that's the big place where you're going to play. And it is okay, and I highly recommend that you go in and you have a presence on the top 6, and maybe you share some content from time to time, but feel free to go on your Facebook page if you decide you're not going to play there and say, hey, listen, follow me on Instagram where I share pictures, tips, and advice daily on health and wellness. So set up the expectations that while your business is not out of business, even if you're not posting regularly on Facebook, but if they come to see you over on Instagram, that's where they'll get some great information from you. So if you will think about that, think about where your masses are, think about where you can effectively and accurately track your people, and then pick the places where you can really dive deep into that piece of information. So think about that, make some decisions, and feel free to be choosy, to pick one or two of your top outlets and really focus there, and that is okay, and you may have permission for that. Now, step number 3. Decide what you want to say. Now, this is the crux. I have a system that I teach called the Social Media Blueprint for small businesses. You're getting a piece of the Social Media Blueprint for direct sales right now. But as we talked about before, that people come online for social media for 2 reasons: information and connection. And so as a brand and an individual and as someone who's trying to share a product or service, if people aren't coming on to be sold to, then they need to come on and connect with you in these 2 ways. So there are 4 different types of social media status updates that, regardless of the outlet that you use, whether you're using Twitter or Google Plus or Vine or Instagram or whatever, there are 4 different types of social media status updates that you need to use in doTERRA and essential oils to help you grow your business. The first type of update is service updates. Now, service updates are tips and information. It is getting really specific and clear about how you can help your audience. And one of the ways that I like people to think about this is, what's your core message? Do you like to focus on a specific aspect of essential oils and health and wellness? Do you like to have opportunities to be able to teach people? Maybe you focus specifically on athletics or athletic performance. Maybe you focus just on pregnancy and wellness and babies. Maybe you focus just on family health, or maybe pets. Or you can go through and talk about each of these things and spend 1 month really diving deep to provide them the information that they want. Now, service updates include tips on how to use the oils. It includes information on the properties of the oils, but it also includes information on you as a health and wellness advocate that will help people understand you and helps you to establish your expertise. Now, let me give you an example for this. I know that each of you are independent consultants for doTERRA. I also know that when you take on this role, you want to be an industry leader. And some of you might think, well, there's a lot of competition in that, but for your audience, you need to be the industry leader. And so these service posts are a great way not just to talk about the oils and not just to talk about the benefits, but to provide them tips and information on all aspects of health and wellness. And this can tie in together in specific themes. So let's say, for example, that next week you decided you wanted to talk about sleep. And you want to talk about the essential oils that aid sleep, the nighttime routines that aid sleep. But go above and beyond that. Instead of saying, hey, put a drop of Serenity on the bottom of your foot every day, that's one of your tips. But another tip could be, getting 8 hours of sleep is still ideal for most Americans. Another tip could be, make sure that you watch what you do for the last hour before sleep so that your brain and your body can relax and rest, and it can be ready for sleep as soon as you get into bed. So start to brainstorm and think of all the different kinds of tips associated with sleep above and beyond the products and services that you offer, because then it looks like you're providing a whole benefit and a whole wellness instead of just saying, hey, I have this one modality, which is essential oils. Now, you don't have to be an expert on everything. Most of the stuff that you and I were talking about just then, those are pretty generic tips and information. Anybody could go look online and say, yeah, sure, they need 8 hours of sleep. But again, you're helping people find that whole wellness. You're helping people establish powerful routines and information. And so when you're doing that from a standpoint of and helping yourself really get specific, you could easily go through to your calendar and say, okay, for January, I'm going to talk about mood. And for February, I'm going to talk about sleep and relaxation. And March, I'm going to talk about outside bees, stings, TerraShield stuff, like how to protect your family from the things that are happening outside. In April, you might talk all about allergies and allergy wellness. In May, you might talk about family health. In June, I think that you get the idea. Go through, maybe June is performance. People are really getting into races. Talk about Deep Blue, talk about pre-post workout information, how to help them with that. But then go through and think of some different tips and advice and information that you can provide that will be service updates above and beyond just product information. And then you establish yourself as a leader, you establish yourself as an expert, and you establish yourself as someone who can really help them above and beyond the products that you're selling. And so number 2, and hopefully this will also help you as we get into some other pieces and you see the whole blueprint here. But number 2 is to socialize. And what I mean by that is ask questions. Ask questions of the people that are following you, that help you to know that they can contribute. So if people are coming online for information and connection, that they can ask questions and get to know you as a brand and individual, but that also you're connecting other like-minded individuals. So if next week, for example, you're going to talk about sleep, the questions you could ask is you could say, hey, maybe one of the questions of the day is how many hours of sleep do you get a night? Maybe another question of the day on another day is what is your nighttime routine that helps you get to sleep? The next question could be how energetic do you feel when you wake up every morning on a scale from 1 to 10? And you're getting people to talk and share and provide tips. You're also giving them an opportunity to have the microphone because they want to hear this information, but they also want to share their ideas too. And so when you socialize and ask questions, you're giving them that opportunity, and you're also helping your algorithm. Now, this is talked about, and some people may be familiar, some people aren't, but Facebook has an algorithm, and basically it is what determines shows up in people's individual news feeds. And that algorithm is dependent on all kinds of things. It shows you the people that you comment and interact with the most. It shows you things that people have paid for showing up in your news feed. But you've probably noticed that when you post about business things, you're not getting as many likes, comments, shares, etc., because you're posting information about business or you're posting a third-party link. The socializing posts really help you because the more people like, comment, and share, the more your posts are shown to those individuals. And so you can, if you can get people to comment and participate, not only is it providing that sense of connection, but it's also helping you with the algorithms that are happening in social media so that you're seen by more people and that more people are getting the information that you're putting out there. So it's a two-pronged approach, so the socialized piece is really important. And one thing I didn't say about the service piece is that it's really important that you look at that you're providing information that people would want to share. And so some of those generic tips, pretty quotes that fall into your subject matter for the week. And again, you don't have to follow that rigid schedule, but I recommend it as an individual because it makes it easier for you to sit down and write content if you know exactly what you're talking about. So service posts, socialized posts make up the crux of what you talk about. We'll talk about percentages in just a minute. But the third type is to get people to sign up for your email list. Now, when you get people to sign up for your email list, again, like we talked about earlier, they're entering into your funnel, and you're also giving them the ability to learn more from you, to try you out in different ways, and then when they're ready and have been nurtured through an email campaign, that helps them feel more comfortable when they are ready to buy. The other thing that you can do in the sign-up areas for the types of status updates is to cross-promote. So if you are playing on Instagram, you can put a picture up that says, hey, I'm also on Facebook. Come on over to my Facebook page and like my Facebook page for daily tips and information on health and wellness. And you can cross-promote the other way. So on your Facebook page, you can say, hey, come on over to my Instagram account, put the link. I'd love to connect with you because I share pictures, tips, and information every day on Instagram. So you can cross-promote through that sign-up place. So you're trying to get people to sign into your network, whether that's via email or through social media. And the fourth, and yes, they're all alliterations. I am a sucker for alliterations. I'm sure there is like a therapy class for that. I will try to sign up after this webinar. But those four things, serve, socialize, sign, and sell, make up the four different types of social media status updates. And once you know this, it makes it a lot easier for you to schedule things in advance, for you to write things out, for you to kind of plan. So you're not waking up every single morning and going, oh my gosh, what should I put on Facebook today? But you're using this system and this blueprint. And here are the percentages. So I recommend that 50% of your posts are service posts. I recommend that 25% are socialized posts. I recommend that 15% are sign posts to get people to sign up for your email list or to become followers in a different outlet. And then 10% is sell. So if you think about it, for some of you who have been posting the promotion of the month every single day when it comes out, and then you post a new one, perhaps you are getting the idea that maybe that is too much. And that if you find that if you give them the information first and ask for the sale second, you're much more likely to be successful in that vein. And so here, how does this break down? Like if you think about it for a minute, they recommend nowadays that if you're posting on a business page, now this is different than your personal page, and some of you are using your personal pages for your business, which is fine. It's a little bit different on your own personal pages, but on your business page, just as an example, they recommend that you post 4 times a day on Facebook. Some of you are posting too much, some of you are posting too little, but the magic number for Facebook right now is 4. And again, that could change at any time, but they want you to be active and present. Now, for some of you, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, sometimes I don't even post once a day. But 4 times in Facebook is pretty much what you want to commit to, or you probably should play somewhere else. Because they want to know you're a serious business. They want to know that you're really into it. They want to know that you're commenting and keeping up with your audience in a big way. So one of the things that you'll want to do if Facebook is the place you want to play is to commit to that. If you think about it, I post 6 days a week, and so 6 times 4 is 6. Okay, so 6 posts, 6 days a week times 4 a day is 24 posts times 4 a week is about 100 posts, right? So if you can easily go into the numbers here and say, okay, well, half of those posts need to be content. It needs to be information. It needs to be tips, quotes, advice. It can be pretty quotes. It can be just regular text. It could be links to a blog post that you have written. It could even be a link to a blog post that you think supports your topic for the week. Maybe Health Magazine put out a great article on sleep that you want to include during your sleep week. It is okay to send people to third-party resources because they see you as a curator of all of the good information. So you need 50 of those in a month. And then you need 25 questions, which is roughly a question a day. So you can go through and brainstorm, what are my 25 questions going to be this month? And go through and make a big list of your 25 questions. You know that you want people to sign up and you're going to cross-promote 15 times through the month. So how are you going to cross-promote that? And you can go through, sit down, and write all those out. If you're going to get people to opt into your list, how do you do that? If you want people to sign up for a free event or a virtual event, that can be 15 of your posts, and then you can sell for 10 times. You can sell 10 times, and sometimes it's a little bit less because that comes up at least every other day. But look through this, and then if you use this blueprint, it makes all the difference because you're really giving them content and information. You're giving them that information and connection. And you can go in and do it every single night, put it together. And you don't have to do it every night, and I'll share with you how I do it so that it's not something you have to do daily. But I want you to start to think about breaking down the numbers. We post on Twitter 10 times a day. That's 300 posts that we put on Twitter. So we have to go in and write all of these posts in advance. We are linking people to our blog site, but we know what that blueprint is, and that is what has worked for us time and time again. This is what works for us on Facebook, and it works in other outlets. For those of you who want to play in other places, I only recommend that you post on Instagram 1 to 2 times a day. Excuse me. Don't post up to 4 times. People will stop following you because Instagram is really supposed to be, hey, here's the thing that's happening right now. And if you start to get overly in your business, then people unfollow you. So Instagram is 1 to 2 times. Facebook is 4 times. Google Plus, you can really post as much or as little as you want. But I recommend that it's about the same as Facebook, so 4. Pinterest, remember everything in Pinterest is coming from somewhere else. Pinterest is really great if you have an active blog that you're keeping up. If you're a blogger and you use this as like an affiliate program, that can be a great way to do it. LinkedIn, if any of you are going into the business route, that's about 1 to 2 times. You can go up to 4 times if you're really getting involved in content and information. But just so that you can kind of think, now you can break it down and say, okay, if I'm posting on Instagram 1 to 2 times a month, that means I need 30 to 45 posts, and I can sit down and say, okay, breaking out through this blueprint, I can divide up those pieces. So what I recommend as a quick tip is to create a bank of social media status updates. And I keep it in a simple spreadsheet, and I just go in, and every single day I write 10 posts, and I just keep that bank going. Some of the things that you use you can reuse, and some of them will be timely, and so you won't reuse them. But tips, advice, and information can be reused in a few months, because people who followed you before are probably, you have a new list that hopefully your following is growing and growing and growing, and so you'll have new people that are following you that you can then give that information to again. And the life cycle of your post changes. The life cycle of a tweet is about 18 minutes. The life cycle of a Facebook status update is about a day and a half. So some people will see them and some people won't, because they aren't on all the time, and it's okay to reuse some things. Now, I don't recommend that you say the same thing today that you say tomorrow and that you say the next day, but every 2 months or whatever, you could probably use some of the same posts, which makes it a lot easier for you. Then you're not every single time coming up with 300 posts because you're using some of the old ones again. So keep that bank going. Make it a habit or a goal that every day you go in and you write 10 things, and it makes it really easy to create and curate that bank over time. So step 3 is a biggie, but step 4 is good too, because it's important to decide when are you going to get it done. I love the quote by Brendan Burchard that says success is scheduled. And success is scheduled in all aspects of our life, and it's more than just social media and marketing, but in our relationships, in the people that we work with. All of the things that we need to have happen need to become a system and a schedule on our time block. So quickly, I'm going to run you through the 2-2-15-15 plan, which is how I manage my social media in 2 hours a year, 2 hours a month, 15 minutes a day, and 15 minutes a week. Super simple. Annually, you're going to sit down for 2 hours and strategize. This is the part where you sit down and decide which social media outlet you're going to be in and how often you're going to post. And so often, how often you're going to post is determined by the outlet that you're going to be in. But you sit down and you decide which outlets you're going to play in, and then you decide your objectives that we talked about in the beginning. You're going to go back to that why, and you're going to say, okay, these are the 4 things I'm going to accomplish this year. That is the crux of the annual plan. You just sit down for 2 hours, you strategize your objectives, and you decide the outlets that you're going to play in. Next, 2 hours a month, you're going to schedule. So now that you have the social media bank that's going, you can go in and schedule your posts. If you're using Facebook, you schedule within Facebook. If you go into Facebook business pages, when you have the option to post, there's a little arrow there now, and you can click on that button and it will give you the option to schedule the post days, weeks, months into the future. You can even schedule it years into the future from now. So it's a great idea just to get that habit going and to make that work and happen for you. So the scheduling is easy in Facebook. If you're using Twitter, I recommend a service called Hootsuite. It's Hootsuite. If you're using Google+, I recommend a service called Buffer, Buffer. And if you're using a service, if you want to schedule an Instagram, there is a service called Latergram, and it's Latergramme. Now, currently, Instagram does not allow scheduling of posts in advance. What Latergram does is it gives you the ability to load all your pictures and captions in advance, and then when you tell it to, it comes up on your phone and says, would you like to push this live? And then you can say yes, it'll connect you to Instagram, and you can hit post. So it's all of these are a little bit of workarounds, but they work, and I recommend them in that vein for scheduling things in advance. And then daily, because all of those things are done, because the system is already in place, because the actual content is there, you can schedule, and the scheduling's finished, you can go in and socialize for 15 minutes a day. So 15 minutes a day, I go in 3 times a day, and I am interacting. I am thanking people for retweets and shares. I am commenting on questions. If people have put down answers, I'm trying to answer those. Now, the bigger that you get, the less ability you'll be able to respond to every single thing, but you could go into any question and say, thanks so much, friends, for your input. and insights. I really appreciate them, so that you are really interacting. Again, people want that connection from you, and it can't just be schedule and forget it. It's got to be schedule it and then go in and do those organic things every day to keep up with your audience. Now, 15 minutes a week, I recommend that you go in and just look at your posts and figure out what worked, what didn't, figure out what kinds of things you want to change, what kinds of things people are really responding to, and then fine-tune your results as you go on. Change the way that you word things if you notice that people are responding to specific wording. But this all breaks down into creating a system of daily, weekly, and monthly tasks, and deciding for yourself how this fits into your overall marketing strategy, and making sure that that social media isn't something that you're spending all of your time on, but that it's a piece of everything else that you do on a bigger scale. Now, I have one final tip for you that I want to make sure that you get, because remember, there's 5 steps, and it's important. It's an important principle, but I know that there are some of you who are probably interested in going a little bit deeper. You might want some customization or something else, but I do have another tip, another resource for you if this is something that you want to know more of. I have a tool called the Social Media Blueprint for Small Businesses. It's a 4-disc audio, but it also includes online videos that walks you through specific pieces of Facebook and Instagram. We talk about growing your social media following. I put in there over 45 strategies to increase your followers on whichever outlet it is. I talk about graphics and campaigns and contests. And I also spend a little bit talking about Facebook ads. Where we're spending time today for about 45 minutes, this is about an hour on each disc, going a little bit deeper. If it's something that you feel like you want, I'm offering a specific discount to Amber's team. So it's typically $197. I'm offering it for half price. And also, as a bonus, I'm going to throw in the marketing playbook. The marketing playbook already has the spreadsheets available in there for people who are interested in utilizing that, but it's also part of a bigger plan. So the marketing blueprint really is all of your marketing, and you can go in and track your results, track your sales from specific events, track the different advertising that you have. It helps you create some specific messages. So that's an extra bonus. It's something I sell separately. So altogether, it's about $347 worth of stuff for $97, and I will honor that price through the weekend, because I know some people will come back. But you'll want to write down that michelleontheair.com/social media, because that's where you can get that deal if you want it. Now, number 5 is to decide who will do it. Some of you are in a place where you can hire someone to help you, or get an intern, or hire a company to do that. That is fine with me. You need to make that decision on whether or not it's somebody that's close to you, or if it's going to be somebody else. But one thing I want to warn you is that I want to make sure that if you outsource to an assistant or to a third party, that you still own the messaging. When you are in a world with direct sales, when you're in a world with a lot of competition, when there are lots and lots and lots of other advocates and wellness consultants out there doing the exact same thing you are, you really want to make sure that the messaging is you, because at the end of the day, if people have choices, they want to connect with you as an individual, and if you outsource your voice, then you're outsourcing the thing that gives you the most power. So even if you want someone else to schedule your posts for you, that's fine. If you want to hire someone to go in and put things in Twitter or Facebook, great. But really focus with you on making sure that you own the messaging and that you get it there. Now, I know that we had some technical difficulties this evening, and I apologize for that. I'm going to send over a freebie for everybody that is the marketing action list. I've got some dailies, weeklies, and monthlies that I recommend for direct sales individuals. I'm going to send that to Amber so that she can get it to the team. And I'm also happy to do another call for those who are not able to join it, but I'm going to make sure everybody's there. But if you have any feedback or any information about the things that we talked about tonight, I would love for you to share that with me. You can email me at michelle@speakmichelle.com, and I'll throw up my email address in just a second, but I want to end with one final nugget. And it's 2 parts, but the first one is to remember that social media is just one piece of your overall marketing strategy, and it needs to fit within everything else that you do. It needs to have its proper place. While there are a lot of people that are on social media, there are people who don't connect there on a regular basis. So make sure you're not negating live events the ones that you host, or if you're having a booth somewhere, make sure that you're also considering the outlets where you can buy magazine ads or newspaper ads, or do partnerships or joint ventures with people around you, or if you're going to do different online courses that you promote through other ways, or you have someone else to promote for you. Remember that you need to integrate it with other things, because some people will come online, some people won't, and some people will come online and see you and get to know you, and then they'll see you in an event, and that's when they make a decision. And so sometimes it takes multiple touches for people to make decisions. And the final thing to remember is that your most important job in marketing is not to have 200,000 followers on Twitter. It is not to have 100 likes and shares a week. It is not to have a massive email. But your most important marketing job is to create a home court advantage. And when you're playing on Facebook, when you're playing on Twitter, you're playing on the visiting team. You're competing with all kinds of other things. And Facebook is making it harder and harder for people to advertise what they're doing through their social outlet with the new algorithm changes. And there was a new one that came out just this month. And so know that some of the things that we talked about today will change, but the structure and the pieces of the content will never, ever change. That as you note and watch, you need to make sure that you're owning your website and your personal brand as that important part of the home court advantage, and that you need that in order to separate yourself from other places and other people. So remember that social media is great, but you can kind of get lost in the noise, and your home court advantage is important, and so make sure you're still giving people that opportunity to connect with you individually. Now I am going to go ahead and stop screen sharing. I went ahead, I'm on the phone as you can see, but I went ahead and put the conference line on the page for the people who are still having a hard time connecting. So I dialed in there, which is why I look so professional, like I'm talking on the phone, and also here as well. But just as a final note, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my email address is michelle@speakmichelle.com. I'll work with Amber on making sure that you get this video for you to go back and watch additional details and information. And then perhaps we can also find a different modality to make sure that the team gets all these details. I'm happy to even repeat it if need be, or we can do a question and answer call just for the team moving forward. But thank you so much for being with us tonight. I honor you for your time and for your information that you're getting, and I hope that you got some insights as to how you can customize this for your own individual needs, because I think that this is a place and area where each one of us, as we're building businesses, we can take our businesses to the next level by understanding simple principles in social media that will help people be more connected to you instead of repelled to you. And again, regardless of anything that's happened in the past, any mistakes that you have made, any full-on tragedies where you have run into your so-called phone booths, know that you can always get up and you can always start anew, making a new reputation online and in your business. And lots of tips, advice, and tools that have been given today. I want you to focus on the things that are most important for you. Create your action list of the top 3 things that you're going to do as we leave. And then ultimately remember that it's up to you to make it happen. Have a great day.